All right, let us begin. There's not a whole lot for me to bring up this week.
Nope.
Most of what I did was do schoolwork and then work, and I spent way too long doing some of this because I stayed up till like 7 a.m. twice doing such
Jesus.
things. Yeah, it was. I needed a nap after that. I spent
Yeah.
Thursday taking a nap, the entirety
It's
of
a
Thursday essentially.
good Thursday.
It was a very nice Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we canceled the first session of Whispering Nights and that. But we should be on for this week.
Nice.
Um, the Fire campaign has already obviously had their first session, so that one's going good. Um, in terms of updates, I'm still working on the bestiary, still making progress. Um, adding some lore to the book as well, so I'm starting to get some like world monster lore to it. So it's not just monster stats. Um, equipment guide, I'm probably going to be working on this week as my focus, so people can start using that and utilizing it in their games and whatnot. Um, so expect an update next Sunday for that. Um, other than that stuff, because I spent most of my week doing school stuff, anything people would like to discuss, bring up, anything note regarding their various departments, regions, etc.
Nothing from RP events or um, Arlogus.
Hmm, hmm. All right, all right. How's the thing you're working on there, Legacy? I know you were sending stuff my way and looking good.
Test.
Hello.
You're good. Oh.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
We heard her for a bit.
It was just for a moment.
Maybe we only get
All right, here
past.
we go.
Ah.
So currently we've got a basic roadmap up. We're in the development stage, moving into the transition phase, and we'll end up at the live phase.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Give it time.
So over the next few weeks I'll be talking to the departments, and I'll stress right now that this is a group discussion, so don't be afraid to speak up even if you're not ahead. These questions will mostly be about the active state, which should largely be development focused, and the eventual live state. That way we'll be able to compare the differences and prepare to transition between the two in the coming months. As for why this is necessary, the easiest way to think about it is to think about individual departments. For example, Divinity is currently focused on fleshing out pantheons, adding lore, making patrons and gods and connecting them to specific domains and whatnot. In our eventual life state, Divinity's purpose would largely be focused instead on how said divinities interact with the living world, their potential behaviors, their feelings towards elements or factors, and so on. That's a big shift in focus, which is what the transition period will be for.
Indeed. Yeah. And
So
going.
if you'd like to think about these factors ahead of time, or discuss them within the departments, go right ahead. Feel free to poke me about your personal thoughts on what the role of a department is in any of the stages, because this is a work in progress involving everyone.
Indeed. Same goes for me. If you have any thoughts or anything like that, send them my way as well.
That's about it. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Indeed. Just appreciate your work in that regard, Legacy.
When is Ted showing up?
I'm afraid Ted is not here. There's no Ted.
Bruh.
They will never show up. There's no Ted.
The final boss.
It's true. But going with what Legacy said, we do have a launch to-do list under administration. If it's not already visible to the entirety of staff, I'm going to make it visible to the entirety of staff, so people can get a greater idea of what's on our to-do list. I'm also going to be working on crossing out things that we have completed, as I've yet to do that, as I wanted to get just a baseline quick look at what everything we have done thus far. Other than that, I know that political has been scheduled for a meeting. We should be having that determined soon, so we can start discussing more of those finer details as well. As for adventure meeting, don't have a need for one just yet, but as sooner we get closer to the end of the transition phase, we'll start picking up meetings. Yeah. As a side note, if people would like to help out in terms of the World Anvil, I know we have people who are assigned to that already. Which this also goes
editorial stuff though at the moment.
Yeah. This goes for those who are currently in this tag. If you would like to start helping out putting on some of the content we have made to World Anvil, I would appreciate this. So things like city information for, like, I already know I have Karstein on there, but if we have a city written up and I haven't put it on there, feel free to put it on there. You can mark it as like a work in progress and ping it to me, so I know to give it a glance over, just to make sure there's nothing wrong.
We should make a channel for like completed documents that need to be put on the channel.
Definitely.
Like just a list of Google Docs, and then they can ping a roll.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of channels here. It's helpful for keeping it organized for the departments, but for what I need to put on there, it's a lot of channels for me to like. Did I go through this one yet? Have I gone through that one yet? So
Yeah,
it would definitely be helpful.
Just
and we can like
put
thumbs them up when they're good. When we've done.
Indeed.
since we're not using Firehouse for game stuff, since we're just still getting stuff ready, just use Firehouse for
That's true. We could just use Firehouse for that.
and then we'll when we transition over, we can just either move it or delete it. Fine.
Mhm. Indeed.
Since technically that applies for Firehouse.
Lorekeeper tag is more for like universe lore. When I said tag, I more meant like the World Anvil tag in World Anvil itself. Basically, me giving you editor privileges. Yeah. There is another thing going in with that though. My Obsidian portal for 5e does still have some content on it that should be transferred. Namely, as I was as Legacy mentioned, Divinity, the custom domains I use, those are on my world or my Obsidian portal, and those should be transferred to the World Anvil. Mostly because I know some of the deities are like, here's a domain, it's homebrew, what's it do? No idea. You know, at least for people who are just looking at the World Anvil alone. Yeah. As another note, if you are feeling extra creative, feel free to go over the feats, like just, you know, default 5e feats, and see if you want to spice them up a bit and send them our way, or just make your own custom feats and send them our way. We are wanting to expand the feat library, so if you want something to do, you're feeling creative. In addition to that, you can always check in with one of the regions and see if they would like some help with work in that regard. Well, I'm going to go bring up this little link that was just posted. So, you know, if a region could use some help with like writing some city information, or perhaps maybe you want to work on some deity stuff, feel free to, you know, just start working on something and send it on in. With us still being in some of the areas fairly early on in the creation phase, you have a lot of free reign to design some basically your own thing to add to the world, essentially. Yeah, let's look over this Dying Lands thing real quick just to see if there's anything that should be immediately brought up. The regions themselves, their checklist should be in the to-do list thing. Let me check.
Yeah.
Plot written, world animal page made, origins made, faction made. That is the minimum requirements for us to be a go. Anything beyond that, so like city lore, lore pages for the NPCs that are of import, anything of that nature, while very beneficial, are not outright required. Obviously, we will have them, like when someone's like, hey, can I go talk to the king of this region? We're like, okay. And then we, you know, have to start putting their stuff on World Anvil so people can access it. So, it will be made eventually. But is it required to launch? No. And, let me just double check to make sure this is currently viable for everyone. Nope, it's not. Okay. Staff can view. There we go. You guys should be able to now see the launch to-do list under administration category. And it's just anyone who has the staff tag. Yep. Yeah, unfortunately, Dying Lands is one of those works that I have in very different locations, and some is just in my head. But, you know, it is one of those things that should have a World Anvil page soon, and with your postings and my knowledge from my games and my thoughts on it, I guess, you can get a solid page, and I think. Yes. Sanity score. Let's look over. Oh, should mark that. There we go. All right. So, let's look over the Dying Lands document real quick. Yep, that is fairly accurate. Definitely makes sense for some Magmadors to be up that way. So, that Great Halls of Emerald looks good. Did not like the names of those, I see. Good baseline indeed. All right, now for the sanity stuff. And I'll go into more detail of that later when we're not, in meeting, just since focus and all that. But let's see here: sanity score, edge, and thresholds. Let's see what you did with this stuff. Sanity attack, very nice, very nice. Important to have that distinction. Yeah. Yes, going with the full sanity threshold method, I see. Most excellent. I believe that was from Pathfinder, where they introduced that system. There's a lot of sanity things I sent you, so I don't know which one it was from. But I like the concept of it when I first sent it to you. So yeah.
We had about 5 links or so that we got from you, so
It's no longer a dumb stat.
Yeah, anything that boosts those stats beyond just like mechanical benefits of, oh, I do more damage, oh, I can cast better, things of that nature, I'm a fan of.
Yeah.
I prefer every stat to have some reason to have it, so it's not just a dumb stat. Like where strength gives you extra HP, or
Speed in this case.
speed. Yeah, I like stats having things, so it's just there's a reason to have something.
Oh, yeah.
Necrodancer Bard subclass. I am interested just by the name alone. I'll continue looking at this real quick though. Well, that would need to be adjusted because it's wisdom save or the like. But oh, this seems to be a copy pasta. I see. For future edits.
let's throw in balance for later.
Yep. Reducing sanity damage with rests and the like. Very nice, very nice. Restoration to cure it. Let's see here. I'm blazing through it by like doing a quick glance rather than actually fully reading things. But is there a permanent sanity damage track on here? I'm not saying because I'm quickly reading through it. I'm just going to type Control F. Nope. Alright, well, I can go into more detail on that, but baseline is looking pretty good. Indeed. Now for the Necrodancer. As a side note, bringing up Necromancer stuff, I do intend to add a whole bunch of new Necromancy spells, especially some like lower level ones that let Necromancers feel fairly necromantic. So do expect that in the future to see a bunch of new spells listed out on the World Anvil.
Pre-live or post-live release.
I think one of the new books came out with some Necromancer healing spells too.
Oh, nice.
Which would help alleviate undead players'
Indeed.
healing issues.
Indeed. What did you say, Legacy?
See text.
The necromancy stuff I'm working on will be available at launch. Yeah, it's not unlocked content. Is there something wrong with the name Necromancer that I'm not aware of?
It's a game.
It's a game.
That's a game. Okay.
You know how many songs have the same name?
Yeah, I don't think that is an issue. If it were like another subclass itself, that was like official 5e or something like that, it might cause issues. But if there's two different mediums, it shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, like you get like songs that have the same names all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it makes a big deal.
I know this well when I'm trying to look up musical songs for their lyrics, and I get something else. Let's see here. And for Aura, very nice. Very nice, very nice. Looks pretty good. I don't see any glaring immediate issues with the subclass. As long as it's approved by balance, I think we're good to just plop it on for approval. Anything else people would like to bring up? Anything of note?
I would like to ask something, but just at the end of the meeting.
All right. If no one
Think
has,
we're around them, go ahead, file.
yeah, if no one else has anything, then this is the end of the meeting.
So
Okay. I guess I'm a little bit ashamed of asking this, but if the Monster Lab people are not doing much, I would love if they help me making the stat blocks of NPCs, because I need to make around 20, and the cities are already made, and their general context is done, but I need to do their personal lives and follow the thing to follow that Awaken Shrub posted for making NPCs. So if someone would help me make the stat block, I would be very thankful.
So are these NPCs going to be commonly encounterable? Or are these mobs? What are they?
No, they are VA NPCs.
Okay, they're VI NPCs.
Right.
Are they going to be commonly encountered? Because if they're not going to be encountered until way later, you don't really have to worry about stat blocks.
Oh,
'Cause
okay.
level one-
No, they're
level one
generally the
people-
important people in the city, so they shouldn't be accessible
Yeah.
for low-level cards.
Generally, if it's like a VNPC in that nature, you can just give it a basic they're a half orc barbarian level 12, and then you're good.
If it happens that you have to worry about the stats suddenly, we can deal with that then. Essentially, you don't have to worry about stats until people are starting to get into 6, 7, 8 levels.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. No,
And,
that's great.
Part of the bestiary update will have humanoid beasts, and when I say beasts, I mean monsters within the book itself. So if you're like, oh, this VI NPC is a level 12 barbarian, taking that example again, I don't have a barbarian prepped. Does the bestiary have one? Oh, let's go to the humanoids levels 1 to 12. Oh, look, a barbarian right there. I'm just going to grab that and push that stats on this guy. Maybe give it a bit of extra spicy stuff because he's a VI NPC.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. In fact, we could even further down the line make it for, dedicated in regions. So NPCs that you can find in Borussia are themed for that, stuff like that.
Indeed. Yeah. I actually have 4 different types of bandits for levels 1 to 2, just because bandits in the frontier are completely different from bandits within Borussia, who are completely different from essentially bandits, which are pirates, in the Stormlands and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of tier 1 creatures I've been making.
Okay.
But yeah, anything else people would like to bring up? All right. Quick thing for the spells. The spells I had in mind were mostly things to help boost the necromancy thing. So specifically, I intend to add a early level 1 undead summoning spell. I know there's no real undead minions
just
level 1.
Make sure it's not too strong because action economy.
Indeed.
Whatnot.
It's going to be a simplistic summon spell, essentially. Temporary.
Gotcha.
But that is what I have. I appreciate everyone's faces as I wait to see what Legacy is about to say.
A spell like that exists in one of the editions of the game. I'm pretty sure there was like a level 1 where you could like raise a body for a turn or something.
Yeah, no, a lot of the older editions, Pathfinder included, have some low level summoning spells, undead spells, and the like.
It's like you can raise a undead for like 1 to 3 turns or something, and they can only do basic actions.
Indeed. But yeah, another thing, if you are feeling creative, kind of just remind me of that. If you like spells, feel free to look at spells from Pathfinder and convert them into 5e. Or just, make your own custom spells and send them my way. So I do intend to convert spells from 5e into, or from Pathfinder into 5e.
Yeah.
Just remember to put most of them in a document that's shareable, and then we can put it in balance. We can go over that for the next 4 hours.
Indeed. Yeah, there actually is already a spell that's similar to the making noise and twitching for a body. I have Grasping Corpse. It's not full on make noise and whatnot, but able to have a necromancy version of thaumaturgy that does that. I don't know. Anyways, that is the meeting. Appreciate everyone's faces. Appreciate all the work you've been helping out with and all that good stuff. I'm gonna call the meeting here and drop the recording.